Honoring our nation's heroes. Ahead of Veterans Day, WSLS 10 is taking time to share stories about our local veterans. Decades later, Americans are still working to restore a connection with Vietnam War veterans and this pivotal moment in our history. And today, we want to introduce you to a Roanoke Vietnam veteran with a unique story who went from the Hokie football field to fighting for our country. Like so many in his generation, service during the Vietnam War shaped the man Tom Dalzell would become.
Being a Marine is not what I was, it's who I am.
Before becoming a Marine, he was a football player at Virginia Tech.
I was a good athlete in high school, and I'd been recruited to a lot of schools to play football.
Despite other college football offers, his heart was set on becoming a Hokie. He studied civil engineering on a football scholarship, graduating in 1958.
I wanted to build roads and bridges and things like that, so that's how I came to Virginia Tech in 1953.
A career was calling. Tom turned down several offers for engineering jobs and even a contract to play professionally with the Chicago Bears. But active duty called him elsewhere. It's 1958. Our nation's young adults were being called to war. He knew a draft notice was coming after graduation, so he decided to join on his own terms.
When I went home and I told my wife, guess what I did? I joined the Marines. And her response was, and now the adventure begins.
His life in the military began.
The whole idea was to break you down and then build you up.
Thankfully, his time as a college athlete got him through basic training.
Everywhere you went, you ran, yes sir, no sir, and 3 bags full. I could not even do a pull-up the first day. But later on, I could do 15, 20 pull-ups. I could go up that rope.
December of 1958, he stayed at Quantico for officer training, selected the engineer field, and was in reserve commission. But football came calling once again.
But then the colonel of the basic school called me in because he knew I had played football at Virginia Tech and I had been drafted by the Chicago Bears. We want you to stay here at Quantico and play on the Quantico football team, because at that time Quantico was playing college teams. And I said, Colonel, I joined the Marine Corps to see the world. I've got orders to California. I've never been across the Mississippi. I'm going west.
As an engineer, he served in California, the Philippines, and then back to Camp Lejeune, North Carolina.
And I think it was in 1965, there were about 1,000 of us got orders on Friday. We had to be at Camp Pendleton on Monday. And we knew where we were going. We were going to Vietnam.
He took many photos during his time as an engineer in Vietnam, building roads and structures. He worked alongside the Vietnamese people he remembers fondly, especially the children. As long as they were around, he knew he was safe. He recalls a day they found themselves alone.
And the hair on the back of my neck went up there. It was really the eeriest feeling that I ever had in my life. There was nobody around, no animals, no sound, no wind, nothing. And, you know, the guardian angel was saying, don't go up the road. So I said, turn around, we're not going up today. And so we went back, and sure enough, up the road, there was an ambush up there. It was a big convoy of Marines, and they got into a big firefight. And whether they would have done that with a lone vehicle coming up, I don't know. But my life was saved.
Unlike so many others he served beside, he remains thankful for returning home. And despite the dark times, he reflects on his times of service as some of the most important in his life.
When you come up to Veterans Day and you see a bunch of old guys like me, you know, from the past, don't remember them as old men. Remember them as young men who sacrificed.